You spent quite some time with it. Tell me about it.
Prague, 1986.
Undisclosed disaster. Cold, dark and ugly.
I felt at home. I don't even know how to start this one. Hrot is an indie first-person shooter by a guy called Spitiniev, which had its full release recently on Steam. First things first, if this game's aesthetic reminds you of Quake or Chasm, you'd be right. Reportedly, Spitiniev had this idea first in 1997. He wanted to create a game in the likes of, well, Quake and Chasm. Then in 2017, he took action and created Hrot in his own proprietary engine, which was written in Pascal. He hasn't lost his vision for 2 decades. Hrot has a very unique feeling. A feeling which captures you not only in a specific place, but also in a certain time. You start to think about life back then. The good stuff, the bad stuff. It fills you with euphoria and depression. What a way to explain a boomer shooter. But that's the reason why I spent quite some time with it. Hrot nails the feeling of Sehnsucht, your desire to experience more and more of the time and place. To get one important thing out of the way, Hrot gets the shooting right. The gameplay is solid, the guns are fun to use, the enemies are exactly what you would expect from a game like this. We have shotgunners, machine gunners. Okay, never mind. The guns also do exactly what you would expect. The shotgun rags, the double barrel breaks. Oh, the story is, well, non-existent. Kill the enemies, rid your homeland from the invaders, repair Orloi. I will explain that later. We got 3 episodes, 24 levels and 2 secret levels. While they don't really connect with each other, the level design makes up for it. The progression is kept very natural, you don't have to backtrack a lot. Sometimes even with a main stage with several doors. And as you progress through the level and gather all the keys, you will return to the main stage and be able to open another path, which will eventually lead you to the exit. Talking about keys, of course we have some sort of key hunting, but instead of flashy colored cards or orbs, we get the rusted key, aluminum key and common key, each with its corresponding keyhole. And what would a retro shooter be without secrets? Sometimes even up to 9 of them in a single level, and to be honest, some of them are really well hidden. If I may show you an example, there are 2 secret switches in those screenshots. The color palette and textures really work against you here. I wanted to make a video for this game for a while now, but to be honest, Hrot is more like a mixed bag of different herbs instead of a spice. Trying to explain this game while capturing the essence of it all got harder the more I played. Even the game got confused at one point and handed out recipes for 3 different dishes instead of following its concept. Episode 1 starts off easy with a pistol and your sickle. Not really viable in combat, but you get that nice charisma buff. The game takes place in former Czechoslovakia. We don't really have an identity, so I declare us as the ghost of Ziska. You will quickly realize that the world around you is dark, cold and hostile. Your first encounter will be the Sumasku, white gas mask, assault rifle and suffers from ARS. Together with a few other common enemies, they will be your main concerns throughout the entirety of episode 1. You got your standard roster ranging from shotgunners to tanks to fucking miners. In Shemik, this guy is based upon a legend, which is a very nice little story. Search for Shemik, savior of Sir Horimir. Then you got some rather unnerving presences. Yeah, that's a cloned head of Vladimir Lenin, with a huge radio attached to his head. My question would be, is he being controlled, or is he reporting back to someone? I need to know. And Pedro. Gumwats? I don't know, don't ask. Episode 2 will spice things up with a few new additions, like the Headsman, which comes in multiple flavors. Merely, who will leap at you with an axe, sometimes even throwing grenades. Either way, they deal quite some damage. Gunners. Why would you give enemies double-barrel shotguns? Why? Bikers? cruising on their Javas trying to run you over. And lastly, riders. Same as the bikers but with less horsepower. Then we got the infested riders. Bound to a wheelchair, hits harder than a truck with busted brakes. I feel like I should feel sorry for this guy. He lost his legs, but not his willpower to kill. But I'm all for equality. And episode 3. Most notable here would be the pathologist. Similar to the K-Duvets, they are the tanks of episode 3, but instead of grenades they rely on saw blades, which can bounce off walls. And the newts. They appear only in one level, which is more likely a fever dream. Inspired by the novel with the same name from Czech author Karel Čapek, the newts are described by Čapek as a highly intelligent race of sea-dwelling salamanders. I refuse to elaborate further. I skipped over a few enemies throughout the episodes, since my sanity is at stake. You will see a few more of them as the video progresses. In total you will encounter around 27 unique enemies and another 10 bosses in this game. Enough variety to fully utilize your arsenal, which consists of 10 weapons. I'm not counting the sickle. The sickle is more of a symbol, a feeling if you will. If the game switches automatically to it, you will know that you run out of ammo and are in the early stages of dying. Throughout the campaign you will get your hands on the classic 90s FPS weaponry. Starting with a pistol, which will never be useless, thanks to the simple fact that you can dual-wield them. The SMG, terrible accuracy at long range, reliable as the Toyota Hilux at closer ranges. Soviet shotgun, which sounds like someone gently slamming a car door shut. Your super shotgun, this thing will shift the game's balance quite some bit. It chips just everything. The Hussite cannon, your rocket launcher, which uses grenades as ammo. Landmines? I don't know what you would need those for, but they are here. The crossbow, huge damage and huge reload time. Some wine? I heard it's the cheap stuff, but don't forget where we are. Wine can also be used to heal up 10 health points and even overcharge you over 100. Just go easy with it. And 2 electric weapons, which can be classified as your BFG in 2 parts. One shoots an electric ray and the other shoots a big plasma ball. Both do a great job at killing things and can be recharged with car batteries. Or by... We need to talk about pickups in this game. Shooting enemies is one thing, staying alive is another. Obviously, this game has a classic health system with armor and health points. And sure, you can rely on boring medkits for 30 points of health. But in Hrot, we have better options. Canned poultry, worth 5 health points and can overcharge you over 100. Kifli, bread rolls which are very popular in Europe. If you ever have the chance, try it with butter. Sounds simple, but the taste speaks for itself. Like its real-life counterpart, it awards you 10 health points, which is enough to get you a bit further through the day. Semi-skimmed milk, worth 15 points and is low in saturated fats. German meat salad, the titan in all break rooms in all of Germany. And lastly, our 3-course meal. Soup, main course and cake. This thing will bring you back from the brink of the dead with 50 health points. Armor is no exception to the game's absurdity. 1 Corona will grant you 10 armor points. Or 1 Pedro, you decide. 5 Corona would be 20 points. Chest candy is worth 30 points and a firm handshake. And for maximum armor, you will need to scour the place for wife beaters and clean reefs. This is what peak protection looks like, especially when you're on the train tracks searching for secrets. Talking about train tracks, most of the levels in this game are inspired by real-life locations around Prague. First level is Kosmonauto Station, which had its name changed to Haje in 1990. Vyšehrad Castle, which is located in the east bank of Vltava River. Inside the fort is the Vyšehrad Cemetery, the resting place for many prominent Czech people like Antonín Dvořák and Karel Čapek. And in here lies one of the most important aspects of Hrot. The amount of details Bitiniev put into those levels is mind-blowing. Remember how I talked about a specific time and feeling? And what an odd way it is to describe a boomer shooter. From architecture to the brightness of the lights. This game has character. No matter how confusing everything gets, it feels right and it manages to capture you. Paired with the historic landmarks and references, it brought a lot of attention to the old Czech Republic, making me read articles over articles about Czechoslovakia and communism in this country in general. I spent like 20 euros on the game. which captured me for over 60 hours and educated me on stuff I would never have thought would interest me as much as it did. There's even an entire level dedicated to Prague's oldest sewage treatment plant, located in Bubinec, which is now a protected national monument and has been converted into an eco-technical museum. I learned that thanks to this game, or Orloj, the oldest clock which is still in operation, attached to the old town hall in Prague. According to local legend, the city will suffer if the clock is neglected and its good operation is placed in jeopardy. A ghost mounted on the clock was supposed to nod its head in confirmation. According to the legend, the only hope was represented by a boy born in New Year's night. All in all, Spitiniev created more than just a simple shooter. I can't really say if this was intended or not, but one thing's for certain. He chose an incredible composer to complement his work. Cielos, I think it's pronounced. A German composer, according to his Bandcamp, who also worked on a soundtrack for Hotline Miami 2. A mix of dark ambient, electronic and industrial soundtracks, which go hand in hand with the world shrouded in cold mist. There you have it. Hrot is indescribable. Some would say it's nothing special, and I can understand the point. Some people just like to boot up a game and have some brainless fun, and if that's your goal, there are better games than Hrot. But if you like games which offer an experience instead of just simple fun, I would recommend you consider giving it a try. Thanks for your time.